Hello, welcome to ProveText. I'm Michael Halcomb, and in this GrammarPoint episode, we're still continuing to think about prepositions. In the previous episode, I talked about how prepositions often call for different cases, and I kind of want to follow that up in this episode. In particular, I want to think about prepositions that call for one case. And remember, I said that there aren't prepositions that call for nominative cases, but when it comes to genitive, dative, and accusative, there are prepositions that call for nouns that follow in dative, genitive, dative, or accusative only, right? So, for example, the Greek preposition en, epsilon nu, is always going to call for a dative form to follow it. We have this all over. The Septuagint and New Testament are replete, even outside scriptural literature, just replete with this. So whenever you see epsilon nu, n, it's going to call for a dative to follow. An example of a genitive would be ek, epsilon kappa. Whenever you see this, it's always going to call for a genitive form to follow. So ek uranu would be an example. You got the uranu in the genitive. And pneumati. Pneumati would be the dative form, right? So an is calling for the dative, ek is calling for the genitive. You have examples with the accusative that also call for one case as well, like is, epsilon iota sigma. Epsilon iota sigma, is is going to call for an accusative. So we could say something like is yukon, into the home or into the house. Is is going to always call for an accusative. And so there are prepositions like these that are one case. I guess we call them prepositions. They're only going to work with one case, and that's it. Later, we'll talk about in another episode two case prepositions, and then also we'll talk about three case prepositions. But for now, you just need to know that there's a handful of words that either call for a genitive, dative, or accusative, a handful of prepositions that call for a genitive, dative, or accusative only. That's really, really important to know. Knowing those is really key. There are a lot of prepositions, for example, in the genitive: andi, apo, akri, ek, exo, embrosten, enopion, enica, eos, opiso, pro, charin, choris, so on and so forth. Those are all going to just call for a genitive, and that's it. That's it. So these are one case prepositions. I hope that helps.